Does Paul actually fall in love with Chani? Spoilers if you haven't seen Dune Part 2. Just a quick warning that I am discussing Paul as I know him from the most recent movies, not the books. I have not read them, and that's okay. I want to talk about the movie that just came out. In a previous video where I discuss how Paul fits into the white savior trope, I talk about how the message and his motivations are unclear. And his blossoming relationship with Chani is one of the reasons why I felt that way. Don't get me wrong, the intimacy and the attraction between the two of us was palpable. And in other scenes, we see that he respects Chani as a warrior and as a peer. But I feel like Paul is consistently contradicting himself. There are scenes where he is yelling at his mother about her ambition and telling her that he will not be a part of her plan, and also humbly denying that he is in any way the Messiah that they seek. We even see Jessica and Super Baby say like, oh, love made him weak. So lines like that where even his co-conspirators are talking about how he is not ready for whatever they have planned makes me feel like, especially with Timothée Chalamet's excellent performance, that he is not taking advantage of the Fremen. He genuinely cares about them through Chani. But what made me question his love and faith to Chani was not him proposing marriage to Princess, I forgot her name, Yelena, but the very intimate love scene where she says in her language, "Will you love me forever?" And he responds in English. This entire time he's been pushing that he wants to be Fremen, but in the most raw, intimate moment, he can't even bring himself to speak the language, which supports the theory that he's doing this all for show. That's what made him such an interesting character to me, because 2 plus 2 never equaled 4 for him. Because for the majority of the movie, he was avoiding going to the South specifically so he could not finish out the plan that his mother and the witches wanted. It wasn't until he got the sauce that he was moving differently. In the final scenes where he's making these huge decisions and rallying up the Fremen, I'm conflicted. The Fremen follow him out of sheer will. He's not forcing them to be his army. They are choosing to be his army. And honestly, I would have chose so too. He was so charismatic. And also he had already proven himself to be Fremen. Some of their most sacred ceremonies, like riding the worm, he excelled at. So it made it seem like a war was inevitable for the Fremen to achieve power. The other families already said they wanted the smoke, and the moment that he took out the king and replaced him, he led an opening for them to come in and say, well, we want to take it, if he chose not to declare war. But tell me, what are your thoughts on Paul and his motivations in the movie? I understand that there are things from the books that we'll find out later on, but right now I'm talking about dissecting what the motivations are for this particular character from what we know from the first 2 movies.